Om Bolo Bolo Reshavai Radha Krishna Bolo Bolo Reshavai Veshekariya Shabmadiya Kirchane Chagone Gai Radha Krishna Bolo Reshavai Niche Maya Boshe Jachobeshe Acho Hogo Bhai Niche Maya Boshe Jachobeshe Acho Hogo Bhai Radha Krishna Bolo Reshavai Ji Krishna Das Ei Vishas Korle Ko Aaj Bhulanai Ji Krishna Das Ei Vishas Korle Ko Aaj Bhulanai Radha Krishna Bolo Reshavai Krishna bolbe jabe Ulla khobbe jorde anki bole tai Krishna bolbe jabe Ulla khobbe jorde anki bole tai Radha Krishna Bolo Reshavai Next line. Oh, I missed one about the Matrovika Chai. Krishna bolbe jabe উল্লাখ হবে চড়বে আঙ্কি বলে তাই রাধা কৃষ্ণ বলো সঙ্গে চলো এই মাত্র ভিক্ষা চাই রাধা কৃষ্ণ বলো রে সবাই জয় সকাবিব ভক্তি বিন্ন বলে যখন নাম গায় রাধা কৃষ্ণ বলো রে সবাই হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম রাম হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম রাম হরে হরে নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ গৌর হরে জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ গৌর হরে জয় সচিনন্দন জয় সচিনন্দন জয় সচিনন্দন Nandan Guru Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Padaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govindanam Madhusudan Padaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govindanam Madhusudan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Haribo, 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 Gauda Haribo. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauda Shitanath Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shra Shri Rupam Shagadajatam Shahagana Raganatam Mitam Tam Shajivam Shadaitam Shagadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Shanam Mantra Guru Jota Shikha Guru Gan Ta Chadane Age Kariya Bandhan Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Shashti Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shanda Prashtaprade Shetadane. Move this. And bring one of these cushions. This cushion. Yeah. Put it behind me. Slip this under here. And under there. Here. A bit more. Yeah. No, that's good. Oh, I can see everything now. Yeah. Something to put there, underneath there. Cartels, some glass. Yeah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shahodito Bodhidaye Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamanido. In the Advaita Bhavan, so last night, I think it was last night, Advaita Bhavan, we were discussing how Vishwarup took sannyas. Vishwarup took sannyas. Can anyone in this exalted assembly of scholars of the Goswami literature tell us the reason why Vishwarup Mahashai took sannyas? Why Vishwarup took sannyas? Raise hands. Yeah, Gangarani. No, Vishwarup, not Mahaprabhu. Yeah, Vishwarup. Why Vishwarup took sannyas? And he was? Okay, actually that's what Jagannath Mishra thought. That's what Jagannath Mishra concluded. But the reason why he took sannyas and mentioned, we quoted two verses. Yes. Yeah, pain, he was pain. Boro dukha vai Vishwarup Bhagavan na shune abhishta Krishna Chandra akyanam. Na shune, not hearing abhishta Krishna Chandra, his beloved Krishna Chandra akyan, descriptions of, the glories of. Not hearing that. It was too painful for him. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how much love that is painful when you're not hearing Krishna katha? We can analyze our own behavior. How much Krishna katha we hear? How much grammar katha? These days, the grammar katha is it's just you cannot. It's indoctrinated. It's actually all the time the bing bing, different messages, different this surrounded everyone. The sound vibration actually pollutes your mind constantly. People are. I mean, I was telling you this morning that before I came to this Krishna consciousness movement, I'd never taken mango. Probably you don't believe that. You think he's Prabhu's just saying that, but it's truth. It's such a life, such a condemned existence. But also in my life, we've seen so much change in technology. Can you imagine that in my childhood, we had a telephone in the house, one telephone. And the telephone would ring, and then who would answer, and then who's it for, and everyone would hear the conversation. And I remember my mother, I was youngest of 6 children. Who has 6 children these days? I was youngest of 6 children. And I was born, my eldest brother was 7 years old. My mother had 6 children, and the eldest was 7 years old. Imagine that. What a feat. What a family. We had a great fun in childhood. But all the other brothers and sisters would go to school, and then I would still be at home. Then the phone would ring. And then I was amazed that my mother would sit there for an hour and there was like, she wasn't even, she had nothing to say. The phone rang. It's not that she had all of these important things to say. The phone rang, and she was happy for us to spend an hour just talking on the phone. I was amazed. Of course, as I grew older and matured in life, I found that is not an uncommon phenomena. So anyway, it's easy for us. It's easy. Actually, the mind, you're chanting Hare Krishna. In the beginning, it's actually bitter. It's bitter to chant japa. It's bitter. You have to sit and sometimes walk up and down, and there's something. It's a struggle to control the mind. It's not actually that the holy name is bitter. It's sweet. The holy name is sweet. It's sweet, but it's controlling the mind, which is painful for us. So just think of one thing: the sound vibration. It's painful for us. Because bahut janma kori, what is that? The bahuni me batitani janmani tavacharjana. So many lives we've just been completely victimized by the mind. Mind is in control. And we are simply following the dictates of the mind. And actually the people are addicted to the internet for this reason. Because it allows you like for the mind to wander wherever. It's just that's an enjoymental pleasure. The mind can just, and then there are these things like, what is it? It's Instagram, and the one thing comes after another. You can somehow you get caught. You can spend an hour. One thing after another. It happens. It happens to me. It's like you get caught, and then bang, wasn't it? And the next thing comes, and the next thing comes. Actually, my wife, she's there. She has YouTube, and she's telling me all these things, latest things, Bengal, Rajnoitik, everything. And she says, it just comes automatic. She says, I say, how do you get all these things? She said, it just comes. Just comes. What does that mean? That means that actually, it's a heavy thing, actually. We're all under surveillance. I mean, you search on something in Amazon, then all of a sudden all of these things that pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up. Amazing. It's like someone's watching you. Anyway, then people that, and I remember in the first few years, smartphones, I think maybe, it's almost 20 years now, I think, around about that time. And then I remember sitting in the Chennai airport and sitting there, and 100%, the Jatrigon, the travelers, 100% in the lounge, everyone, without exception, just everyone just completely absorbed looking on their phone. And people, that's their life now. They can't go there. Even you have conversation with people, and they're messaging at the same time. They're talking to you, and it's just going on. It's like this constant type of interaction, and it's with sometimes thousands of people. You have thousands of people, and it's just like you're just constantly hearing it and going on. I mean, that's such a dramatic change to the consciousness of humanity. And people are not even talking. A few people talk about it, but my age is such that I've seen it from the beginning. It wasn't there, but you talk about industrial revolution. Machines, petrol, and everything changed the world. Highways, trucks, cars, industrial revolution, factories. Just 200 years ago, there's no factories. There was no industry. India was completely rural. Amazing. And the trade on the rivers, Ganga, and the Mongol Bhumi. It was part of the British plan to destroy they left Kolkata and moved to Delhi, and they destroyed Bengal by dividing in half East Bengal, Bangladesh, East Pakistan. It destroyed all the Shonar Bangla, so many rivers, so many agricultural fields, there's so much produce in the rivers of Bengal. It was such a prosperous land. It's so prosperous, and it was destroyed by the British on their way out. One of their agendas to destroy the prosperity of Bengal. And it was all based upon agriculture. Still, you see, on sometimes the boats, and there's no chicka 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 chicka. At night time it's quiet here. You come and live in Mayapur. 7, 8 o'clock, it's quiet, completely quiet. It's probably something you've never experienced. Everybody, you're in Mumbai, huh? You're in Mumbai. And your apartment buildings until 11:30 at night. There's so much noise, people eating, talking, and you have to try to sleep. Here, 7 o'clock at night, it's so quiet. 7 or 8 o'clock, even quiet. But anyway, you can hear sometimes you hear the boats crossing. I can hear early in the morning. It sounds like we're being under attack by the Delta commandos coming in helicopters. Chugga, 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 chugga. I'm expecting them to come tearing through the windows, with balaclavas. When I hear the sound of the boat, chugga, 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 it sounds like helicopters coming in. But can you imagine there was no noise like that? Certainly in the time of Gauchandra, the sandy paths, he's having his class on the banks of Ganga. It's such a relationship with Ma Ganga. Only bathing means Ma Ganga Snan. No shower in the house, no bathroom. Bathing means Ma Ganga. And, every day, 2-3 times bathing. And people living on the banks of Ma Ganga. And everything, the whole existence, everything they're making in the village. Everything. Clothing, and what a life. And And 200 years ago, the whole of India was like that. And so many other places on this planet. And everything has changed so quickly. And nowadays, our children are growing up, I mean, without the social media, it's a massive protest. Become so addicted to these things. It's changed social interaction. It's changed the species. There's so many people, and you're all hearing their chit chat, but people are not really thinking about who knows where we're going, the direction. It's kind of like a big blob that just like aimlessly is going and progressing, but we don't know in what direction and who's deciding. Who's actually? There's no Brahmins who are actually leading society. It's just whatever makes money. And it's like a aimless blob of expansion. We don't know what direction we're going in. But if it makes money, it's acceptable. But what it does to consciousness, what it does to the fabric of society, no one cares in the future. What sort of, compared to Varnashram Dharma, Bharat Bhumi, where you're producing great Kshatriyas and great Brahmins, like a meditation, control the senses, great heroes. How can we produce such people now, where the consciousness is just people are addicted to social media and manipulated, are totally manipulated. Now, who's making the decisions? What direction are we going in? No one even discusses. It's called Andaya Tandaya Upaniyamanas Tapisha Tantram Udida Urudham Nibadhai. Sri Prahlad Maharaj is explaining to Hiranyakashipu. Andaya Tandaya, the blind leading the blind. The blind leading the blind. Just the decision makers, those who are who are designing the future of humanity, they're just people that want to make money. We have reposed our vision into AI and technology and software, and those people they're actually determining the future of our race. And what is their qualification? Simply they're just making money. That's their motivation. And we're allowing it to happen because we're quite happy to do scroll. We scroll for hours, we just dull. We never protest. And there should be Brahmins actually. Sitaram Prabhu, I know some agree how you're producing children, make Brahmins. Make Brahmins. Sama, Dhamma, Kapha, Socham. Sama, the peaceful. Dhamma, sense control. Tapa, austerity. Rise early in the morning, take bath. Clean. Socham. Chantir. Ajamam. Jnanam Vijnanam. Learn it in Shastra. Produce produce sons like that. And daughters. Produce like that. That's the only hope our humanity has. Otherwise, who cares where we're going? Anyway, that just came to mind when, for some reason. We were discussing about Abhishek Krishna Nasha Akyan Vishwarup took sannyas. You can understand, you can relate to it. In fact, Bhagavatam says that the people will go to the mountains just to escape governments. In Kali Yuga, they will retire. It's called off the grid. Maybe you know what that means. Off the grid. Off the grid. It means that you're not everybody where we have in fact, India you have to have. It's all connected. The Aadhaar card, the PAN card, the bank accounts. It's called, everything you do. Yeah, everything, you can't exist without it. You're forced to have. But off the grid means that you're nothing like that. Nothing. And people will do that just to escape modern governments. They will do that. But actually Prabhupada told us to do that. Prabhupada told us. I'm just influenced by the ISKCON Continental Committee. What can I say? Isn't it? Everything's authorized, what I say. So we heard about Vishwarup taking sannyas. And that was so painful for all the residents of Navadvip. And then Jagannath Mishra, he concluded that if Nimai, if he goes and learns from Advaita Acharya and learns this philosophy, he will also understand the futility of material life, and he'll lose interest in family life. So he took him out of school. He took Nimai out of school. And then we heard Nimai climbed on the paths and made the protest. And then, so when Jagannath Mishra came back, his friends, they said, they discussed with him. This is a foolish thing to do, your son, he's inclined to study, and you're such a scholar, and your father, your family of scholars. How can you do this? Like abuse. You have to allow the child to study and everything. So he agreed. Interestingly enough, Jagannath Mishra changed his opinion, even though he was very concerned. He changed his opinion due to the good advice of his friends and peers. It's interesting that he accepted that. He changed. And then he decided again to let Nimai study. So to do that, the first thing he did was to arrange for what's called the Yajnopavita Anushthan. Yajnopavita. Because they're Brahmins, and so in order to award Nimai the sacred thread, at this time, Nimai, he's perhaps he's just 7 or 8 years old. We're kind of going a little bit chronologically. We didn't spend much time on the Baal Lila, but their pastimes you're more familiar with. A little bit now about this Komar Lila, and then next few evenings we'll discuss his marriage to Lakhipriya. So he decides to arrange for Jagyupabitra Anushthan, the sacred thread ceremony. Well, here we are in Navadvip Dham. Just by walking to this venue, you have accrued, just by walking to this venue this evening, you have accrued more pious credits than you had in thousands and thousands of lives of Dharma, following Dharma. Navadvip Brahmite, Jai Pade Pade Pai, wandering in Navadvip, Navadvip Brahmite, Jai Pade Pade Pai, what you get with every step. Koti Ashrameda Paul, Sharva Shashtragai, Koti 10 million Ashrameda Yagyas, with every step. Sometimes people ask me, oh, what do you do in Mayapur? I say, I walk around. That's better than becoming a sannyasi. You're better than becoming a sannyasi with every step. Koti Ashrameda, that Ashrameda Yagya, the emperors perform, the emperors of the planet. Yudhishthira Maharaj. We have present here in this august assembly many learned scholars of the Bhagavat. So who can tell us how many Ashrameda Yagyas Yudhishthira Maharaj performed? How many? No, I'm sorry for laughing, but that's not a different person. Different person. That one. That was a different person. Yeah. But we're asking about Yudhishthira Maharaj. How many Ashrameda Yagyas performed? Not so many. Wasn't that many? It's 3. 3 Ashrameda Yagyas. And that cost so much of the kingdom's wealth. It's a big thing. Krishna induced him, actually. Krishna induced him to perform Ashrameda Yagya after becoming emperor of the world. Krishna was present in Ashrameda Yagya. And that's where there was the dispute who should be honored first, Shishupal and Krishna. So it was a big thing. They invited all the royal order and everything. They all came present there, Ashrameda Yagya. The 3 of them he performed. The king, Yudhishthira. And just Brahmate, Pade, Pai, Koti Ashrameda, 10 million Ashrameda Yaga with every step. That's walking around there, Navadvip. How could you leave this place? So, if you're a pious person, if you're interested in accruing piety and religious life, how could you leave this place? Anyway, what to say? We all have to leave. You leave, I also come and go. So just develop an attachment, Navadvip, for serving Gauranga. Even Mahadev, Lord Shiva, he desires that Mayapur Antodai, Janabiptidai, Gaudanga Bhajibo Ami, Urohidai, Kutidai, Mayapur Antudbhagi is in Antudip, Anturbhagi, in the division of Antudip, is within Mayapur, deep within Mayapur, Janavir Tidai, on the banks of Maganga, Gaudanga Bhajibo Ami. Gaudanga Bhajibo, I will chant Gaudanga, Gaudanga, Gaudanga Bhajibo Ami. Rohire Kutire, living in a cottage. This is the desire of Mahadev, Lord Shiva. He's desiring us. So you have a desire for residence in Mayapur. I mean, when your final pastimes, you come, if not before, Vrindavan, Mayapur. Ravindra Sarup Prabhu, a famous devotee, a famous educator, leader in Amul GBC, Ravindra Sarup. He's residing in Mayapur. His wife left her body just last week. He's very aged now. You don't see him. He came here to his final time in Mayapur. Have attachment from Mayapur down. And just by remembering, was it Sharva Tirtha Brahmaya, Kaitika Jahapai, Sharva Tirtha Brahmaya, all of the holy places. If you visit Sarva Tirtha Brahmaya, Kaitika, the pilgrim, Jahapai, what he gets? Visiting all the holy places. Navadvip Sharane, Shailab Shastragai. Just by remembering Navadvip Sharane, Shailab, you get the benefit of visiting all the holy places. So what does that mean? That means to always never forget Navadvip. Never forget and develop. It's everyone has an inherent, every Sankirtan devotee has an inherent adhika, an inherent jurisdiction and eligibility for attachment to Mayapur. And come to Mayapur and then hear about Gauranga Lila. Come to Mayapur and hear about Gauranga Lila. Sri Gauda Madhu Lila Cha Karne Prabheshila. Sri Gauda Madhu Lila, the sweet pastimes. Gauda Madhu Lila Cha Karne Prabheshila, those whose ears they enter into. Hridoya Nirma Bhelota. Hridoya Nirma, the heart becomes pure. Nortam Thakur Mahashaya, he is singing. We were teaching with Nitai Madhav Prabhu. Shikha Guru, Nitai Madhav Prabhu, we were teaching with him in Bhaktivedanta Gurukul. I had opportunity for some time to teach students. Actually, Sitaram Prabhu's sons were there, and other devotees. Where is Kashyap Kapil? Yes, his son was there. Other devotees. So I was considering what to do, and then my conclusion was that, if anything, to teach these boys, let me teach them the Narottam Pratana, the songs of Narottam Thakur. Learn Bengali and teach them songs of Narottam Thakur. What an education. What an education. If you can quote the Narottam Pratana, which Prabhupada's so free, probably there's no other Acharya Prabhupada quotes as predominant, as much as Narottam Thakur Mahashaya. You can do the statistical analysis. But Prabhupada knows all the songs, he sings the songs, he quotes them the songs, everything is there, all the conclusions are there. All the conclusions. In every song, you can we'll sing again next chance I get. I can't, I forgot to bring that. We can sing Narottam Thakur. So Narottam Thakur Mahashaya, he sings Sri Gauda Mandal Bhumi Jayabhajane Chintamoni. Those who understand that Sri Gauda Mandal Bhumi, the earth of Gaur Mandal, where Mahaprabhu performed his passion, Gaur Mandal Bhumi Jayabhajane Chintamoni, is desire fulfilling. It's spiritual desire fulfilling. Chintamani Rup Hoy A Gaur Mandal Chit Anandamoy Nam Shaka Chinmoy. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Jal, Bhumi, Brika, Adi, the jal, the water, Bhumi, the earth, Brika, the trees, Adi, etc. Shakal Chinmoy, they're all spiritual. Achincha Shakti Karja Prapanchika Noi. Made with spiritual energy, not material energy. Why is that? Because the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, Hari, Gauda Hari, he performed here. So, therefore, he comes with his entourage. Just like the president or head of state. They come, they bring their whole everything. They bring their staff, they bring their office, they bring their everything, big entourage. I think when Barack Obama visited India, I think it was 1,500 people, 1,500 on the staff that just came with him. So like that, because when the Lord appears, then he brings the stage. It's not just here and there, find some place in the corner, we'll do the pastimes here. He brings the Dham to the stage, and the Dham remains. He brings it with him to perform the pastimes, and the Dham remains, and is still reverberating the transcendental Sangha of all those great associates who are here performing the pastimes. And actually the pastimes are mittal. They're going on eternally. The Dham is so charged. So just coming here is so It's so powerful for our consciousness, for awakening our love. Awakening our love. And when we associate with the sincere Vaishnavas in the holy Dham and hear about the pastimes, it's very powerful. This Leela there, he's not Mahaprabhu, he's not like standing on the chariot in Kurukshetra and giving the Dibbogan. He's just completely absorbed in the past, in the childhood. He's enjoying. He's enjoying. It's why he's doing these things. This is his enjoyment. So Jagannath Mishra begins to arrange for the thread ceremony. He invites all his friends, invites his relatives, and the musicians. Isn't that amazing that the musicians are just on hand? The musicians are on hand. Everything has changed now. Nowadays we don't have musicians. Devotees in ISKCON, yeah, we have devotees, the kirtan, but musicians, they were on hand. They were just available. He's inviting the people. That means it's just in word of mouth. It's not that there's sent out invitations. It's just here and there. The musicians are just available here. The musicians, different instruments, mridanga, shanai, flute, Brahmins chanting Vedic mantras, orators. The orators means that they're just speaking. They come and they're speaking. They'll glorify the Lord or the histories. The orators. Have you ever seen orators? Here we see in the writing of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Maybe if you occasionally catch the movie in the gladiators in the Roman times, there'll be the orator. Oh, now we have the great hero from the eastern provinces. And he's speaking without a mic. Or even in the royalty, in the royal palaces, when the head of state comes with his wife, he's announced. They get the Premier of Sweden and his wife, and then they're announced. Everyone stops, and sometimes there's applause. Orators. You can stand up. You remember Sridhar Swami Maharaj? Sridhar Swami Maharaj? He was like an orator. He could stand up and just speak in an assembly. You just stand up and start speaking. An orator. So orators were there. You know, someone like in the Western culture, offer a toast. Say, yeah, a toast. But actually, this is the real orators are there. They're speaking, telling stories. They offer glorification. And in this way, this is how ceremony was performed. Jagyashutra Dori Ben, Gaura Sundor, Shubha Jog, Shakal, Ailo Sachi Ghor, Shubha Jog, Shakal. All of the planets were in the most auspicious position. Shubha Mashe, in an auspicious month, Shubha Dine, an auspicious day, Shubha Kondori, auspicious moment in that auspicious day. Dorilen Jagyashutra Gaudanga Sri Hari. That on that moment he accepted the sacred thread. And that sacred thread, which was adorning his body, it appeared like Anantashesh. It's so beautiful. And Gaudhari at that time, he appeared like the dwarf incarnation of Sri Hari Vamanadeva, who also was like a young Brahmin begging from Balima, as described in the Bhagavad. Hoilo Vamanadvip Prabhu, Gauda Chandra, Dekite Shabai Boro Paramananda. This Vamanadvip, Dekte Shabai Paramananda, everyone was completely overwhelmed with bliss. And then Gaudhari, with his Brahmin thread and dhoti, he's going from door to door in Navadvip begging alms. Hate Danda, Kande Juli, Sri Gaura Sundor. Hate Danda means he's holding the danda. I think it's Bael tree. I think it's Bael tree. Where are our Gurukulis? They're not here this evening. It's Bael tree branch. Hate Danda, Kande Juli, this cloth bag which is tied from one piece of cloth. Kande Juli, Sri Gaura Sundor. Bhikha kore Prabhu Sharva Sheboke Gaur. He goes begging Sharva Sheboke Gaur at the door of the different residents of Navadvip, who are all his servants. Actually, they appeared, his eternal servitors and Shebikas, they appeared in Navadvip just to participate in this pastime of having him come to their door and request alms and be able to offer alms. And that's their eternal service, which they repeatedly do in these various incarnations, including such exalted personalities as Dvijapatni Rup Dhori. Dvijapatni Rup means the Dvijapatni is wife of the Brahmins, Rup. The form of wives of Brahmins, Dvijapatni Rup Dhori, Brahmani, Brahmani and Rudrani. Who are Brahmani and Rudrani? Brahmani is the wife of, is Saraswati Devi. Brahmani and Rudrani is Parvati Devi. So they assume the form of wives of Brahmins, and they're residing in Navadvip just for this moment of Gaudhari to come and knock on their door and beg alms. And not only Rudrani and Brahmani, Dvijapatni Rup Dhori Brahmani Rudrani Joto Poti Brata Muni Bhage Grihini. Joto Poti Brata means those wives who accepted the vow of their husband. Poti Brata. It's called Poti Brata. Muni Barger. Muni, the great Munis, their wives. The great Munis, their wives. Poti Brata Muni Barger Grihini. The wives, the housewives of the great Munis. Such as in the purport, Srila Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says, that means Saraswati and Parvati, and then Oditi, Anushuya, Arundhati, and Devahuti. They all appeared as wives of Brahmins, and they're in the humble cottages in Navadvip, just for this moment of Gaudhari to come at their door and ask for alms in his shoulder bag. Jai Shune Prabhu Jagashutre Grahan. Those who hear this pastime, Jagashutre Grahan, of Gaudhari accepting the sacred thread, Jai Shune Prabhu Jagashutre Grahan, Shai Pai Chaitanya Chandra Charan Sharan. Chaitanya Chandra Charan Sharan. They get shelter at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Chandra just by hearing this pastime. So now that he's got his sacred thread, he's got his sacred thread. Actually, he's studying at home. He begins studying at home. And he masters all of the scriptures. Gore Sharva Shastre Bujya Shamihito. The essence of all the scriptures. Bujya, he understands. Gore, just by studying at home. But Goshti Maje Prabhur Podite Hoilo Chitta. This is one verse we can speak on for hours in one verse today. Gore Sharva Shastre Bujya Shamihito. At home studying, homeschooling, but even this is not actually homeschooling. He's on his own. There's no tutors or curriculum or online classes. This is just him personally sitting with the books. He mastered all of the scriptures. However, Goshti Majay Prabhu Padite Hoilo Chitta. He had a desire to padite, to read and study Goshti Majay. Means in the association of others. Goshti Majay. Prabhu Padite Hoilo Chitta. He had a desire erupted. Even that is something extraordinary. That here, this is chapter 8, Adi Khanda, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. So 8 chapters have passed. We never heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his desire was to study with others. That's never been mentioned. so that we can understand. He was not thinking like that. He was not thinking about that, studying with others. But now, at home, he's studying books, and this is what it says, Goshni Majhe Prabhu Porite Hoilo Chitta. Hoilo means it appeared in his heart that he now desired to study with others. What does that mean? That's very interesting. That means that just like us, we have desires that we didn't have a desire before we have it, and the desire comes. Just like that instrument I played this morning, that instrument. For some unknown reason, I can't even remember when. Can't even remember. But I said, let me play a mandolin and play bhajans. I had a desire to. I've been in the movement like 40 years, but I never thought about that before. Never thought about that. Suddenly I got the idea to do that, and it sounds so good. Isn't that amazing? Where did that idea come from? I don't know. I used to play. I mean, I never played, but I had one when I was a teenager. I had a guitar and had a mandolin, but I never had learned to play like I can do with it now. But anyway. So I'm saying that just like we can have a change in personality. It's like mature or evolving. I don't know. You're a little different. It's the same with Gaudahari. It's amazing. Our philosophy is Om Purnam. Om Purnam is complete. Om Purnam Adaha Purnam Idam. Purnat Purnam Udachite. So many complete humans emanate from the complete. But still, something comes which is new. It's amazing, isn't it? That he's everything already, but still now he has a desire. So what does that mean? That means that, I don't know, I'm not sure what it means, but I think it means that you can have like a relationship and surprise him. You can, why not? Or if not surprise him, at least you can do something individual to please him, which only you can do. So that as your jiva, there's something you can serve him in such a way that pleases him in a way that no one else can, no other jiva can. I mean, so try to awaken that capacity and make that your essence of your existence, complete service, complete absorption in service to the Lord. This is what Krishna is requesting in Bhagavad Gita. Manmana, think of me, Bhavamad Bhakta. Have devotion to me, love me, Bhavamad Bhakta. Madhyaji, worship me, Mam Namaskara. Maya Shaktamana Pata Yogam Marasraya, completely fall in love with me. Maya Shakta, become completely absorbed in me, completely obsessed with me. Maya Shaktamana, fix your mind upon me. Maya Shaktamana, become completely, dive completely into a relationship with me. Maya Shaktamana. Yogam Yunjam Marasraya, take shelter of me. So this verse, for me, it's such an interesting verse that he's at home, he's studying the books, and then he says, he thinks, he's not even mentioning it. He has, if I could study with others. It's amazing. If I could study with others. And we'll hear that Jagannath Mishra understood the mind of his son. So now so thinking, okay, so he's going to go to school. So they're going to go to school. So where is God going to go to school? It has to be something special. Not just because the school's close by and there's a bus and so it'll do. I mean, when it comes to it, ultimately we just accept what we can get. There's a school, there that we can pay the fees, it'll do. We've got to do something we've got to give them an education somehow. So, unlike that, it's a very in fact, this person who becomes his teacher, actually, that's his eternal role. Navadvip Ache, Navadvipa Ache, Odda Pakshiromani, Gangadas Pandit, Jai, Heno, Shandipani. Navadvip Ache, Odda Pakshiromani, Odda Pakshiromani. In Navadvip, there is the jewel amongst the scholars, Odda Pakshiromani, Gangadas Pandit, Jai, Heno, Shandipani. He's actually the guru of Krishna and Balaram. And what a wonderful leela is described in the Bhagavad, that Krishna and Balaram, they learned Upanishads, Vedas, Dhanurveda, Dharma Shastras, Mimamsa Tarka, the 64 arts and sciences. And then graduating from the school of Shandipani Muni in Avantipur, they offered their prostrate obeisances to Sandipani Muni, requesting him for some dakshina. What can we give you, Master, in reciprocation for all of the jewels that you have given us? This is so amazing. What a way to go to school. You find an exalted guru and you learn all of the important sciences in human life for attaining the perfection of life. And at the end, before, there's no discussion of school fees or this or that. There's no discussion. It's just at the end, the student feels so indebted that he wants to offer something. And then the teacher can request. So what does Sandipani Muni request? He consults with his wife, and he requests that our son who drowned in Prabhakshetra, that you kindly bring him back. They knew who Krishna and Balaram were. You kindly bring him back. So Krishna and Balaram, they went there, Prabhakshetra. And they went into the sea. They heard from the mouth of the ocean that their guru's son had been kidnapped by a demon in the shape of a conch shell named Panchajanya. And so they dived into the ocean, and there, Krishna, he killed the Panchajagya demon, and he took the conch, but his bones and his conch shell Panchajagya. And then they went to the abode of Yamaraj. And when Krishna blew that conch shell, Yamaraj personally came out to see him. And then he worshipped Krishna, Yamaraj worshipped Krishna, and then immediately returned the son of Sandipani Muni. And then, so that's Sandipani Muni. He appeared in Navadvip as Gangadas Pandit. Vyakaran Shastre Ekanta Tattvabit. Vyakaran Shastre Ekanta Tattvabit. Means Ekanta Tattvabit means he was learned to the ultimate extent beyond which it's not possible to go. It's Ekanta Bit. Ekanta Tattvabit in Vyakaran Shastra. Tartai Padite Prabhu Shamihita. Mahaprabhu had a desire to study in his school. Tartai. So as we mentioned, that Gangadas Pandit, he was aware of his son's desire to study under Sandipani Muni, under Gangadas Pandit. Jagannath Mishra was aware of his son's desire. So then he took Nimai to the residence of Gangadas Pandit. Now when Gangadas Pandit, he's there and he sees Jagannath Mishra coming. Mishra Deki Gangadas Shambrame Utila. Shambrame Utila. With respect, he stood up. Alingan Kori, Ek Ashone Boshila. Alingan Kori, he embraced Jagannath Mishra. Ek Ashone Boshila, and invited him to sit on the seat along with him. Then they began to speak. As I mentioned, there's no discussing about what are the monthly fees, can you get some government rebates, nothing like that. It's such a high-class society, such high-class interaction. Mishra bole putra ami dilam tomar sthane. Mitra bole putra ami dilam tomar sthane. Padai shunai va shakal apane. You teach him and you make him hear and you teach him everything. Gangadas bole boro bhagya shayama. Gangadas bole boro bhagya shayama. Oh, how fortunate I am. Paraimo Joto Shakti Achayama. Certainly I will teach him everything I know with all of the strength that I have. Shishideke Paramanande Gangadas. Shishideke Paramanande Gangadas. She's in so much bliss seeing Sachi Nandan, Shachi Kumar. He's in so much bliss. Paramanande Gangadas. Putra Prai Rakila, Putra Prai Kodira, Rakila Nija Pasha. He kept him just like his son. Kept him close to him just like his son. And then what a student. Nimai became Joto Baka Gangadas Pandit Koden Shukrit Shunile Matro Tako Doren. Joto Baka, whatever Gangadas Pandit said, Joto Baka Gangadas Pandit Korin Shukrit Shunile Matro, hearing it once, Tako Doren, he would capture that. He would remember it. Whatever Gangadas Pandit said, he would remember. Can you imagine a student like that? A student like that. I mean, well, how many of you are teachers, how frustrating it is. On occasion. But still, it's a great pleasure that the teachers, just like many of the leaders of the yatra and congregational preaching in ISKCON Jew, actually, many of those devotees, actually, I was able to serve by being their teacher. So that type of pleasure, when one sees students becoming successful, that is incomparable for a teacher. So what a student was Nimai, Joto Baka Gangadas Pandit Korim, whatever he said, Shukrit Shunile Matra, hearing it once, Taho Doren. So what a learning environment, what a learning relationship. Such a qualified person. The guru of Krishna and Balaram, he comes and everything he says, he's going to remember. That's why we say to you, I keep repeating, saying that everything about Mahaprabhu's pastimes is so extraordinary. They're so enchanting. They're so fascinating. There's no comparison to the way he interacts, the way everything falls in place. It's just awesome. But at the same time, he's acting just like ordinary people. He never says, it's God coming. Gangadas Pandit is sitting there. He knows. He's Sandipani Muni. He knows who is Nimai. He knows who is Jagannath Mishra. He knows everything. But he's not that awareness. It's what is the word on your computer? It's deactivated. And it's 100% just functioning in this mode. That no, I'm the teacher. My friend Jagannath Mishra is bringing his son. Isn't that amazing? So then what are they doing? Everything they're doing. That's how we can enter the spiritual world, because we can correlate to the activity, the pastime, and it's just by absorbing the mind in it, that's complete bhakti yoga. That's complete connection to the Lord by absorption in the pastime, by entering into the hearing. Mono diye shuno bhai Sri Chaitanya Kotha Vrindavan's Thakur. He says in the beginning of this khanda, Mono diye shuno bhai, listen attentively, brothers and sisters, Sri Chaitanya Kotha, to the descriptions of Sri Chaitanya. Bhakta Shangai Jai Jai Leela Koilo Jotha Jotha. Bhakta Shangai, along with his devotees, Jai Jai Leela Koilo, those pastimes he performed, Jotha Jotha, as they happened. He's describing them. So then, just by hearing then, we can be on the spiritual platform. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koraya Udoy, and Mahaprabhu, he explains to Sanatana Goswami, Shravanadi, principally by hearing, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte, heart becomes clean, Koraya Udoy, love for Krishna, it erupts, Udoy. It arouses, Udoy. Means you can't stop it. You become a madman. Like we were saying, Jopidi mantra, korele pagal kiba mantra, dilo gosha kiba dal bol. What is the power of this mantra? So that's a japa, hearing the holy name, hearing the pastimes. It's so sweet. Drinking nectar. Drinking nectar. Modu lila. Sri Gauda Modu lila. Ja karne probeshila. Now, Sahasra Shishya Pode Joto John, he has thousands of students. Unbelievable. Sahasra. Unbelievable. How he could be so attentive to that one student and with his father and be so affectionate. He has thousands of students. I mean, they're all banging at the door, the madness. Can you imagine? Thousands and thousands, it says. Sahasra. Thousands and thousands. Pore, Joto, John, I mean, nowadays you would never get to see the principal. Even at admission, you'd just be there in the office. Once a week he'd come and be a big assembly, 1,000 people there. That's the principle. And here he's sitting down, embracing and sitting on and sharing affection and treating him like he's saying, I'm treating him like my son. And then there's thousands and thousands of students. Sahasra hasra sishya pade jota jon heno karo shakti nahi dvidare dushan. No one could stand, of those thousands and thousands of students, no one could confront Nimai with an argument. It was so brilliant amongst thousands and thousands of students. Dekhi Odbud Buddhi, Guru Harashito, saying this extraordinary intelligence, Odbud Buddhi. The Guru, Gangadas Pandit, Dekhi Odbud Buddhi, Guru Harishito, Sarva Shishya Sresto Kori, Korila Pujito, Sarva Shishya Sresto. He considered Nimai the best of all the disciples. Sarva Shishya Shrestha Kori, not just considered them, but he treated him. Sarva Shishya Shrestha Kori, Sarva Shishya Shrestha Kori, Korila Pujito. He respected him. Pujito means he publicly honored him as the topmost of all the students. And then there were the other eternal associates who appeared, who were just like students, who were students. Sri Murari Gupta, and Sri Kamalakanta, Nam, Krishna Ananda Adi, Jota, Goshti Pradhan. So there was many eternal associates of the Lord who appeared with him and were studying also in the school of Gangadas Pandit. And in other places in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, he describes how they were interacting as students in different occasions, which perhaps on another occasion we could hear. But now I'd like to share with you a little bit about what happened shortly after Jagannath Mishra gave Nimai to the care of Gangadas Pandit for study. Shortly after that, Doive, Egdin, Shopnadeki, Mishra Bar. By divine arrangement, Doive, Egdin, Shopnadeki. Jagannath Mishra had a dream, Mishra Bar. Hari She Bishad, Boro Hoilo Antar. That dream that produced simultaneously Hari She, joy, and Bishad, anxiety. Boro Hoilo Antar, in his consciousness. So would you like to hear assembly of Mayapadam Jatrigon? Would you like to hear what he saw in that dream? Shopna deki, stoba pori, dandabat kori. Shopna deki, seeing the dream, stoba pori, he's reciting prayers, dandabat kore, paying obeisances on the ground. Hey Govinda, Nimai, Rahuk Mor Gore. Hey Govinda, Nimai, Rahuk Mor Gore. Oh Govinda, please make Nimai stay at home. So seeing this, Jagannath Mishra falling on the ground praying, hey Govinda, please, I pray you, please make Nimai stay at home. Sachi Devi, she says, oh Prabhu, why have you suddenly prayed to the Lord for this benediction? Today I have seen a dream, answered Jagannath Mishra. And in the dream, Nimai had shaved his hair of his head. Adbhut sanyas besh kahane na jai. Adbhut sanyas besh. He was wearing this extraordinary sannyas dress. Adbhut sanyas besh kahane na jai. It cannot be described. Hashe nache kande Krishna bali sharbadai. Hashe nache, he's laughing. Nache, he's crying. Nache, he's dancing. He's laughing. Hashe nache kande, he's crying. Krishna bali sharbadai, calling out the name of Krishna incessantly. Advaita Acharya Adi Jata Bhaktagon headed by Advaita Acharya, all of the devotees in Navadvip, they're all here. Nimai is only 7 years old, but already they're in place. Already all of the Navadvip Vasis, the eternal associates, Gaurange, Shongi, Gone, Nita, Shuddha, Korimane, they're already waiting, they're already in place, they're already established their positions in society. Nimai is only, he's just gone to the school of Jagannath Mishra, of Gangadas Pandit. He's 7, 8 years old, just received the sacred thread. And Jagannath Mishra has the dream, and in that dream already he sees Advaita Acharya Adi, Jota Bhaktagan, and all of the Jota Bhaktagan, all of the devotees, headed by Advaita Acharya. That means already they were already established in the Navadvip society as the great devotees. Because he's going to say that they're in the dream, all of the great Advaita Acharya Adi, headed by Advaita Acharya, Jota Bhaktagan, Nimai, Nimai Bediya Kore, Nimai Bediya Shabai Koren Kirtan. Nimai Bediya Shabai Koren Kirtan. Surrounding Nimai, they're all performing Kirtan. Kokono, Nimai, Boshe, Vishnu, Katai. Sometimes Nimai is sitting on the throne of Lord Vishnu. What a dream. Charen Tulya Deo Shabai Matai, and he's placing his feet on the heads of all of the assembled devotees. Now, who specifically does he see that Nimai is placing his lotus feet upon their heads? Who specifically does he see in the dream? Chaturmukha, Panchamukha, Sahasra Bodhan, Chaturmukha, Lord Brahma, Panchamukha, Lord Shiva, Sahasra Bodhan, Anantashesh, Shabai Gayan Joy Sri Sachinandan. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Anantashesh, they're surrounding Nimai on the throne. He's placing his feet on their heads and they're chanting Joy Sachinandan. Have you heard this before? Is it not overwhelmingly ecstatic? Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. I mean, these verses, I like to learn the verses, because how can I just let such a treasure slip by? Such a verse, and such beauty. It's dripping with love of God and beauty. It's, what a treasure. Chaturmukh, Panchamukh, Ananta, Shahasra, Chaturmukh, Panchmukh, Sahasrabadan, Shabai Gayan Joy, Sri Sachinandan. Yes. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's completely intoxicated in love of God, poet, and such beauty. And what a scene. This is the dream of Jagannath Mishra. He's talking to Sachi Devi. You see that how the glorification is done. It's all the Vaishnavas contributing. He has a dream. There's a prelude. He's on the ground. He's praying. I had a dream. It's not that he's saying, not that he came blurting that, hear my dream, hear my dream. No. She says, what's the dream? Well, then let me tell you, this is what I saw. And here's the glorification is going on. So everyone's like layer upon layer of contributing. It's Mahanande. It's Mahanande. Mahanande. It's Mahanande. It's Maha Anande put together. Mahanande. Mahanande, Chaturdike, Shabai, Shtuti Kore, in great bliss, Chaturdike, all directions. Shtuti Kore, they're all offering prayers of glorification. Dekia Amar Bhaye Baka Nahi Shpuri. And seeing this, I became speechless. He's there also in the dream. Jagannath Mishra is standing there also. He's there in the dream. He's not just like observing, he's there also. But he's speechless, he says. I became speechless. Bhaye. I became silent out of fear. What did he see? Then he saw. What did he see? He said, Koto kone deki koti koti log lie nimai bhulen. Proti nogore nachai. Proti nogore nachai. I'm seeing Nimai, Bulin wandering, Proti nogore, in the different villages dancing. And Koti Koti Lok Lai, that's millions and millions of people were following him. Chatur Dike Shunai Matro Nimai Shtuti. All I could hear in the four directions was glorification of Nimai. Nimai Shtuti. Nila Chale Jai Sharva Bhakti Shangiti. As they're going to Nilachal along with all the devotees. A Shopna Deki Chinta Pai Sharvatai. He says to Sachi Devi, come on, you have a dream like this? Your son is a sannyasi, is Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they're worshipping him, he's placing their feet on their head, they're all glorifying him, Advaita Chadha, he's in a village, he's wandering from village, millions of people are following, chanting the holy name. Have a dream like that? And they're going to Nilachal, Jagannath Puri. A Shopna Deki, Chintapai, Sharvatai, seeing this dream. I'm constantly in anxiety. Virakta hoya pache Prabhu Bahirai Putra. Virakta hoya pache Putra Bahirai. Becoming detached, my son will leave home. Sachi Devi replies, oh, Prabhu, what you saw was just a dream. Do not worry, Nimai will stay at home. He knows nothing but his books. He knows nothing but his books. Emoto Param Udar Dui John. In this way, the two Dui John. Param Udar. Param Udar. They're extremely noble. Extremely noble. Emoto. Param Udar Dui John. Nana Kota Kohe Putra. Shnehe Karon. Nana Kota Kohe. To discuss in different ways. Putre Shneha Karon, out of affection for their son. So, in this way, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi are completely absorbed, even though that we know Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Shuta Hoilo Shai, Brajendra Nandan Jai Shachi Shuta Hoilo Shai, that darling of the king of Braj, Brajendra Nandan Jai Shachi Shuta Hoilo Shai, he's appeared here in Navadvip as the son of Sachi Devi, and Sachi Devi is therefore Majasoda. But she never mentions that, oh, you know, that I remember everything, you know, there in Vrindavan and Gopal was our son. She doesn't know that. Can you imagine you were Maja Soda and then you forget everything about that? How is that possible? You're Maja Soda, you forget all of that. How's that possible? That's how she's, in order to be absorbed in her relationship with Sachinanda, in order to be completely absorbed in that relationship. But Jasoda, Mai, she's simultaneously existent in Vrindavan because that's Nitya Lila. So isn't this extraordinary that such the way that such, therefore they're jibbas, but they're not like us, these eternal associates. They're agatmikas. And so there can be amazing relationships with the Lord. She's Majasoda, and she doesn't, in acting as Sachi Devi, she never even remembers that. But sometimes they think that they discuss that our son might be God. In a dream, a Brahmin, he appeared before Jagannath Mishra, and he begins to chastise Jagannath Mishra for correcting Nimai. Correcting Nimai. And he says that it's not appropriate that you correct your son. Understand that he is the Jnana Samudra, ocean of mercy, and he doesn't require to be corrected by you or instructed by you in a dream. Imagine a dream like that. Could do a PhD topic if someone would like to do advanced study, PhD topic, dreams, Jagannath Mishra's dreams. Could be a PhD topic on Chaitanya Charitamrita. Or even if you like, dreams in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So many dreams. Kaviraj Goswami had a dream. Nityananda appears, a drunken cowherd boy. Go to Vrindavan, waving his wand. Go to Vrindavan. He got up. He went immediately. Sachi Devi has a dream that Nimai and Krishna Balaram on the altar that they turn into Gaunyatai and they come down to eating the offerings. There's dreams, so many amazing dreams. So in this dream, the Brahmin says, you shouldn't chastise your sons. Mishra Kohe, in the dream, Jagannath Mishra replies, Mishra Kohe, Dev Shidhi Muni Kaninoi. Yes, he may be a great Muni, a great Rishi, a great Siddha Purush, or Deb, a God, or even the Supreme Lord. Deb Shidhi Muni Kaninoi, Jai She Bolo Hok. No matter who he is, how big he is, Matro Amar Chanai, but he's my son. And it's my responsibility to correct him and give him an education. So even someone comes and tells you, your son is God. You say, yeah, he might be God. But he's also my son. He's completely absorbed in that relationship. And Sachi Devi, she's there. And why is that? Why are they completely absorbed in that relationship? So that he can play pastimes. So that he puts them into this consciousness that they're his parents, so that he can enjoy his pastimes as Nodiya Bihari. And his parents are there, and sometimes they're chastising him, and sometimes, like at the Ganga, he gives such trouble to the Brahmins and the Brahminis, and the Kumaris even. They can't take bath. They go and complain. We cannot take bath properly. Every day he's there. Have to take bath many times. He spits on us, throws dust, steals our clothes, interrupts the meditation, one after another. They're all, Jagannath Mishra sitting there in the courtyard. Whole group of people came. And then Jagannath Mishra is so angry, he takes a stick. He's walking up and down the Ganga. Where is Nimai? Where is Nimai? Nimai said, the friends, they said, he didn't come today. Nimai knew he was coming. He said, when my father comes, say I didn't come today. Very instructive. Seems to me that truth can be adjusted for social tranquility. Grihastha course is turned into Grihastha course. Truth can be adjusted for social tranquility. Tell my father I didn't come today. And then Jagannath Mishra angry like anything, walking up and down the Ganga, just here, happened just here. And then he goes home, and then Nimai comes on the path. He's just coming like he's coming from school. His hair tied like it was tied in the morning. He's got the ink blotches of ink. And he's like, look on the path. He looks like the Shona Champa is surrounded by bumblebees, walking on the path, sandy paths, the mango trees, coconut trees, blowing in the wind, Ganga. He walks home. They say, your son coming home from school. And then they see him, and he calls Sachi Devi, oh, Ma, bring the tel dailam, bring the oil, I'll go and take bath. What is this? He hadn't been to the Ganga. And then Jagannath Mishra is saying, they're saying all these things. Baba, I haven't even taken bath today. It's all lies. Amazing. And then the Brahmins, they all come back and they say, even though he gives us a hard time, we don't care because we're in love with him. And you're so fortunate to have such a son. And so it's just, this has enjoying day-to-day life with the Supreme Lord. So they're playing the part. So they're completely absorbed in thinking that their parents. Isn't that amazing? And this is and by understanding that, as Krishna explains, that what is that? Yeah, bhaktamam abhijanati. By devotion to me, bhaktamam abhijanati. Yavanyash chashmi tattataha. And then you come to understanding. By devotion to me, you come to understanding. Without understanding, by understanding, you become immensely awestruck. This person, there's no comparison to the way that he can interact with you. How he can create the facility for interaction. And when you understand how awesome this person is, Tatomam tat tatoka, Vishatai tat anantaram, you can join. Vishatai tat anantaram. How you can join? Because you develop such a desire, because understanding, you understand. You have understood the science of what is offered in the spiritual reality, and you become deeply attached to achieving that. You have Have to cultivate that realization through sadhana practice. So just a few days after this dream and the sharing with Sachi Devi, Heno Mote, Koto Din, Take Mishra Bar, a few days remaining, Jagannath Mishra, Anto Dan Hoilo, Nitta Shuddha Kole Bar, Anto Dan Hoilo, he disappeared. He departed a few days after the dream. So generally we hear Sachi Devi, we hear those pastimes, Mahaprabhu, from now on, from the time of, how old is he? He's probably not even 10. And he starts his own school, 9 years old, 10. He's already the man of the house, and Jagannath Mishra is left. But these earlier pastimes, Jagannath Mishra is participating in. And in this way, Jagannath Mishra, he concludes his final pastimes in such a poetically, transcendentally, poetically dramatic way by sharing this dream. And then he departs. So any questions on topics we discussed this evening?
Always it is wonderful and an experience is great Lord Shiva from we are totally absorbed into that. And you mentioned in between that we individually have got certain kind of attachment, affection, or the way to serve Krishna. So is there any way that although we at times know that we like this particular set of emotional service very much, but it may be that that is the mind's goal and not our consciousness goal. So how to understand it? Another point was that the absorption you talked about.
The what?
The absorption you often talk about that how the wonderful devotees associate of Lord are wonderfully absorbed, and even as devotees are absorbed in serving Krishna. So how we can check that? What is the way actually to absorb ourselves?
Well, the first question you asked, we'll answer them in the reverse order. You said, is it okay to be attached to and desiring serving in a certain way, a particular way? And then you said, how do we create absorption? How do we develop absorption? So we develop absorption by practicing sadhana, bhakti. As Krishna responded to Arjuna in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, if you ata chitta samata atamna shaknoti maishtiram. If you do not have the shaknoti, the ability to maishtiram, to remember me without deviation. If you don't, he says to do that. He says, think of me without deviation. Ananna chintayantamam. Think of me without thinking of anything else. Is that 8th chapter? That 8th chapter. Ananya chaita satatam yomam smarti nitya saha. Tasham sulabam nitya tukcha shajogina. Ananta chaita satatam yomam smarti nitya saha. Remember me constantly. That's actually a higher level. He's saying if you can do that. Tashaham sulabha parta. Nitya jukta shajogina. For them, they're very easy to obtain because nitya jukta shajogina. They're already, by remembering me, they're completely connected. Remembering me. And so in 12th chapter it says, Ata chitam samatadam nashaknati maishtiram. If you cannot remember me all the time, then what to do? Abhyasha yoga juktena. Abhyasha yoga jukta. You have to practice. Abhyasha yoga means sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means that you're not doing it out of attachment, you're doing it because it's the rule. The Sholomala. You have to complete the chanting. 16, that's a minimum. But it's not that we're doing that because we're not chanting 16 rounds minimum because we are so attached that we cannot exist without, I mean, maybe you're at that level. Eventually by the habit you will achieve that. I'll explain that. But we're not doing that because, like we're obsessed, we're addicted. I've got to chant. I've got to chant. If I don't, we're not doing it for that reason. We have to get up, and for us it's like effort. And why? So that's it means it's abhyas, it's practicing. But actually, the awakened level was that you're so attached to chanting that you can't stop. Gayanto chakara harer guna bhavam abhibhuta mudha. The Goswamis, Gayanto chakare hara guna. The qualities of Harir, Gayanto, they're always chanting. Bhav abhibhuta mudha. And this increases the emotional eruptions. And so they're attached, they're addicted to always glorifying the Lord. But we're not at that level. We have to put effort into it. So that's how. So that is the main sadhana. Actually, is the bhajan, is the japa. That's the main sadhana, the japa. And then the more that you practice properly, the japa, and the proper practice of japa is bhajante ananta manasa, is ananta manasa, without thinking of other things. So you have to. Personally, I sit and chant my japa, and I do that. I'm fortunate to have a lifestyle where chanting my japa is always the first thing I do every day. For me, because I can have a lifestyle. But if you're intelligent, you should try to acquire such a lifestyle. The sadhana, that in my lifestyle, chanting is the most important thing, and then I can also spend time for other cultivation of sadhana activities with complete absorption, because we have that life. So if you may not be able to have that luxury, but you should plan a life where you can retire, and in the retirement stage be able to have full time for sadhana practice. Because for achieving perfection, you require application on a daily basis and a complete absorption. And things like living in the holy dham is the powerful things to do. So many people, they reside here, they retire. Many retired people living in Mayapur. And I see they just come to the temple program. So you have to practice, you have to involve in the practice, the activities. Sadhan bhakti hoy roti udoy, Mahaprabhu is explaining. By sadhana you awaken the love. And the 5 principal activities of sadhana. Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Sravan, Mathura Basri, Murtira Shadaya, Shebon, Shokal, Shadon, Shrestha, E Pachanga. Krishna Prem Janmaya, E Pache Opashanga. Because Krishna Prema Janmaya, E Pache Opashanga. They produce love of God very easily, very quickly. So you have to spend as much time as possible in associating with sadhus, hearing Bhagavatam, chanting the holy name, worshipping the deity, living in the Dham. By practicing these activities, the more you practice, the more it affects you. And the more the practice becomes better by the more you practice. And then eventually it awakens, by the practice you awaken the next stage of attachment. Already you said to me, you said, what if we're attached to particular types of service? That's it, we fall down at your lotus feet. If you're attached to doing something for Krishna, then how fortunate you are. If you're attached to any service, you feel that's my service, you make my offering, you make a contribution to in some way to the mission, you become very attached. That's wonderful. That's enough. Those things, those simple things can be enough to take you back to Godhead. Like George Harrison, I mean, he didn't do everything, but Prabhupada loved him so much because he had some attachment to some things. And Prabhupada just sees the wonderful things that you do. So even if you can't be perfect, just develop some devotion and some love, some real love for doing something for Krishna. Something else this evening? Yes. You have to get the mic or speak loud, or I can't hear you, or come up. No, let me hear from his lips. Let me hear from his lips. Again. At this time, you mean in the evening? Oh, during this yoga. During this yoga? Wow. Wow. I have to give the proper answer. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to a place called East Bengal, Padma River. At that time, he was at this stage, around, not this age actually, after marriage. We'll hear next few meetings, we'll discuss about marriage with Lucky Priya. And then Lucky Priya, she actually left the body when Mahaprabhu went to East Bengal. So on that journey to East Bengal, he met a Brahmin named Tapan Mishra. And the Brahmin had a dream, and in the dream, another dream. And the person said, go and see Nimai Pandit. He's not just an ordinary Pandit, he's the supreme God. So that Tapan Mishra, he inquired, Sada Sadhan, what is the goal of life? How to attain? And then Nimai, he spoke. He said, Ei shlok nam boli loy mahamantra. I'm telling you this mantra. Sholo nam bhaitri shaka eight tantra. Sholo nam, 16 nams, bhaitri shaka, 32 syllables, eight tantra. This is the process for the Kali Yuga. Shano Mishra, Kali Yuga nahi tapa jagya. In Kali Yuga, no need of austerity or yagya sacrifice, not required. Jai John Bhaje Krishna, Shay Mahabhagya. One who chants Krishna's name, he gets all good fortune. So it's not required. So in ISKCON, Prabhupada did it to help increase the effect of ceremonies. Like he personally, Prabhupada did fire yagya when he initiated devotees. So we do yagyas and we do yagyas. But those yagyas are performed, Simon Prabhupada did them because it helps the mind of the devotee that the event is more impact through a yagya program. So we do yagyas. But practically speaking, in Mahaprabhu's teachings, he said it's not really the yagya that is delivering us back to Godhead, but it helps us. But it's the chanting of the holy name. So even if you can't do yagyas, that doesn't matter. If you can do them, then they're acceptable. But if you can't do them, then you won't lose anything just by doing Sankirtan yagya. Is that okay? Yeah, nice question. Anything else this evening? Yes. Well, I think that in many ways this thing's common because Sachi, Devi and Jagannath Mishra, they're acting like in Maya. They're acting like in Maya. But it's so fortunate for us to see their Maya because it's involving the Lord and the Lord is enjoying. You could say it's the Adi Rasa, this Vatsalya Ras. But in the material world, it ends in suffering. That's undeniable. In the material world, it ends in suffering one way or another. That people have to accept by education. Dukalayama shashvatam antavatu palam what is it? That adantavantakunteya anatai shivamate buddha. It's not really pleasing because there's an end. So you have to convince people. So when they understand that actually this is such material relationships, this family affection and the material, that is a reflection of the reality, then they can be appreciative of spiritual life. But before understanding that, Devi Yesha Gunamayi Mamamaya Duratyaya, you'll never be able to deliver them from that pain. Never. And even for Vaishnavas, even that that's painful. I mean, we have affection, family affection. It's fortunately it's reposed upon Vaishnavas. But family affection is something that it's a temporary thing. So, there's some thoughts on it, what to do. People will be like that. It's natural. Even devotees are like that. People will be like that. But what to do? The solution is preach Krishna consciousness. Even some people will become enlightened. What to do? Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter that even though it's like we can relate to Arjuna lamenting over the pain that the soldiers will feel the pain. Krishna is saying that that's unavoidable. And certainly it's not an excuse for you not to fight. Because they get Jata Shahi Dhruva Mritu Dhruva Janma Mrita Shita, they're going to die one way or another. So pain is unavoidable, suffering is unavoidable. You have to do your duty. You can't use that as an excuse. So we have to preach Krishna consciousness. It doesn't matter about that. That some people are pained, that's an insignificant thing because it's Maya. Please don't quote me on that. They'll just have that thing, family. It's an insignificant thing because it's Maya. Family suffering. As I quote that, a big poster. It just thinks everything's insignificant because it's Maya. But that is ultimately asatyada sattva kodimani. They have to actually come to this conclusion. What is that? That uh, as much as you can get. Kamasha ne Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. Kamasha nendriya priti labho jivete avatar. That the kamasha nendriya priti, pleasing the senses, labho jivete avatar. That is only you should minimize to the bare minimum. Because jiva shatatta jigyasha. Living is meant for understanding the supreme absolute truth. Na arta chesta kamabi. You shouldn't be working for any other thing. But a person has to come to a level to realize that. and all of our preaching is meant to bring people, you become awakened to that level, that all of these other things are of no value. The only valuable thing is to cultivate my relationship with the Lord. Because everything else will be taken away from me after some time, except that. So a person has to be cultivated to come to that level, and then everything falls in place. Everything, we can understand everything. Yanisha Shalva Bhutanam Yasham Jagarti Shamyami. Yasham Jagarti Shamyami. For the daytime of the self-control, Yanisha Shalva Bhutanam. That's nighttime for the people in general. They can never understand. So, yeah, we just carry on preaching Krishna consciousness. Okay, thank you very much. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shamaveda Go, Bhakta Bindiga Jai, Sri Sindhita Gaura, Siddhanath Ramanande, Hari Hari.